So, a little while ago, I talked about a video calling what if the Imperium of Man, and could they defeat... Basically, let me back up. What if the Imperium of Man fought the Galactic Empire, and could they defeat the Galactic Empire? So I kind of thought, what are two kind of similar factions that are close in, like, ideology and technology that could actually go toe-to-toe? And I kind of thought of this one, the Tau and the Covenant. So we're going to be asking the big old question: could the Tau Empire, defeat the Covenant? So let's get into it. Now, the big thing you have to understand is, you're probably thinking, well, the Covenant and the Tau are kind of similar. They probably get along. And to an extension, I do think that if the Tau and the Covenant encountered one another, the two would probably engage in essentially diplomatic relations. I think the two of them would definitely have some diplomatic relations, communicating. There'd be envoys from the Tau, but the thing is they always try to manipulate the situation. But the thing is, I think the prophets would probably be a little hey, what the fuck are you doing in my head? And he was oh shit. So, and also, I don't think ideology-wise, on an ideological level, the Covenant aren't going to care. They're going to view the Tau's view of the greater good and bringing everyone together, and their kind of religious views are going to be different from the Covenant's religious views. It's going to be a holy war. That's how I imagine the Covenant and the Tau viewing this conflict, is it's nothing less than a holy it's going to be like the Dark Age Crusades in space. That's how I see this. Now, the big thing is, technologically speaking, the Tau and the Covenant are kind of on the same level. The Tau are known for using mech suits, ships that are light speed, and also having warriors that have some of the most advanced technology in Warhammer. But you have to understand, the Covenant is pretty big. The Covenant itself is a giant galactic almost empire of religious fanatics who are made of several races, and a lot of them have essentially been in a war for as long as time in memoriam. They spent a good... the whole thing of Halo is that, oh yeah, it looks like an even fight. No, it's not. In that 28-year conflict, motherfucker, mankind was losing the entire time. By Halo 1, that's when the tide starts to turn. But in those 28 years, yeah, mankind was getting curb-stomped left and right. Now, again, human technology and Tau technology, UNSC technology is vastly inferior compared to Tau tech. I might coin that phrase. So, that's kind of the big thing here, is that in this kind of scenario, the Tau, the Covenant probably has, in terms of number-wise and force of numbers, I would say that the Covenant probably beat out the Tau in terms of having a bigger force behind them. That's kind of the big driving entity, is that these guys are more than capable of having total, having, in terms of number wise, in terms of number wise, these guys ace out the Tau. The Tau are still a growing empire. You have to understand that even though they're highly advanced, they're still a empire that is still on the rise, whereas the Covenant has been around for nigh on generations, and these guys have essentially been kind of mastering the whole global expansionism, whereas the Tau are just in terms of length of empire, they're still kind of behind the curb. So you gotta remember that. Now, if this is a full-on fight, the Tau can bring a fight. Let's not be... I know I've been giving it a lot to the Covenant, but in terms of, combat, the Tau are also hey, we're going to... we can fight you from afar. We don't need to get close. But if we do, here's, here's our mech suits, and also here's our warriors, the Kroot. I'm just going to say right now, I would love to see Kroot and Elite fight, get into hand-to-hand combat. That would be a lot of fun. But The Tau are, incredibly intelligent, and they also know how to analyze an opponent. Once the second the moment like diplomacy ends in any kind of scenario, the Tau are immediately going to be like, okay, let's try this. Like, that's going to be the big thing, is that the Tau are going to be like, all right, so that failed. Let's see if this works. Like, let's see if beating you over the head or blowing up your moon is going to change your opinion. Now, the Covenant, since they have such a massive advantage, if this was a full-scale war, the Covenant have, like, in terms of like machine, factories and shipyards, things like that. They have massive numbers. That was kind of another thing that I was giving the Galactic Empire over the Imperium. But the other thing the Covenant have are numbers and warriors. Like, you've got elites, brutes, hunters. You've got all sorts of grunts, all sorts of aliens, all willing to die in the name of their profits and in the great journey. The Tau have that too, where they're like, they'll die for the greater good, but at the same time they also know, hey, this might be a little fucked up, let's run. So the ideologies are vastly different as well. This is going to be a war. I could also see this as a war of attrition, where you have a more, like, you basically have the Covenant as what the Tau will be. That's how I see it, is that the Covenant are what the Tau might one day become. A massive intergalactic empire with thousands of worlds under their control through religion or a caste system or things like that. And through it, they can just call whatever. And also, yeah, they got a few, like, massive they've got some massive weapons from old gods that they could just wipe the planet clean of. Just if you don't like them. I would also love to see how those giant mech warriors that the Tau have, and see if they could do well against a scarab. Not saying that as a mock, I'm actually, like, genuinely curious. So that's something you really have to, like, really think about. Technologically speaking, these guys are both really set, but the thing that really drives me towards thinking the Covenant would come out on top in a fight, like in an all-out war like this, is a straight-up matchup between the two. In a straight-up matchup between the two, is that the Tau don't have the same numbers as the Covenant have. Also, the Covenant, they don't, like, a number. It's like the Imperium. It's a numbers game. We got more numbers than you. We got more people to spare. So we can win that war of attrition. And also, like, we're the holy light of the galaxy. We are members of the Great Journey, and we're here to stomp your fucking face in. The Tau, don't get it twisted. These guys, like, the Tau are also going to learn. Like, they're going to study. The longer this war drags on, the more they're going to want to, like, study and understand their opponent. So the more, like, scarabs they destroy, the more hunters they kill, the more brutes they kill or capture, they're going to learn and study and analyze them. Hell, I could even see that maybe the ethereals might try to convince, through pheromones and mind control, to convince factions like the dim-witted brutes to turn to their side. That could actually happen. So it's a long war, but I think the Covenant would probably stand tall against the Tau on numbers alone. And also, we've been doing this whole war of attrition thing longer than you have, so we know how to fight. But you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you think it would be like if the Covenant and the Tau Empire went to war? Who do you think would come out on top? Just comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope y'all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse. Oh, also, I really also think that the Tau would probably be slow on the uptick that these guys aren't your friends. Remember, they tried 3 times to make friends with the Tyranids, and also realized too late why you don't make friends with the Dark Eldar. Just saying.